Part 2, the Torah teaching of Mashiach. In the image for the boat of Ra, the sun god, we discover the basis for the tabernacle of Moses, a protected boat for the covenant. There are no verifiable facts upon which we can establish that the stories found in the Bible are fact. The question arises, where did the stories originate, and what are the purposes of the stories? Here, in the first of the pictograms of the Egyptian Tuat, we find our answers, and we begin at the book of Numbers in the Bible. There are two groups of 12 men, above and below the boat of Ra, indicating a double census, that which is found in the book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 1 verse 2, chapter 26 verse 2. The 12 tribes of Israel being counted amounted to 603,550 on the first count, and 601,730 on the second count. In chapter 1 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, line 21, we find a curious count of those souls in the underworld, which states, spirits are 4,601,200 in number, a resemblance to numbers within the book of Numbers. A description of the first pictogram of the antechamber of the Tuat is given to us in the Bible, Numbers chapter 10 verse 33. Above the boat of Ra we have the jackal-headed standard, or Anubis. This has become in the Bible the tabernacle and the cloud of God. In Numbers chapter 10 verse 33 it states, "And they departed from the mount of the Lord 3 days' journey, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them in the 3 days' journey, to search out a resting place for them, and the cloud of the Lord was upon them by day, when they went out of the camp." Anubis in Egyptian religion represents the god over the bone structure in man. It resided over the mummification of the dead pharaoh, and represents in cosmology Saturn, and Saturn in cosmology represents the cloud. At the edges of the pictogram we see singed hedges of the mountains of the west, but in the Bible it gives us an alternative description of this. And in Numbers chapter 11 verses 2 to 3 we read, "And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, and the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp." If the reader will take a look at the sunboat of Ra, you see a beetle enclosed within a circle. Surrounded by a serpent swallowing its tail. And in Numbers chapter 11 verses 18 to 20 we read, "The Lord will give you flesh," here meaning the beetle, "and ye shall eat. Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month." This is in reference to the circle around the beetle. which is the sun, and each month is 30 days. Until it come out of your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you. And here we have the serpent wrapped around the sun, eating its own tail. In the pictogram, we see the gods Tat and Zet worship the jackal-headed standard above the boat of Ra. In the Bible, these gods have become the two prophets that did not depart from the tabernacle. And in Numbers chapter 11, verse 26, we read, "But there remained two of the men in the camp. The name of one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. And the Spirit rested upon them, and they were of them that were written, but went not out unto the tabernacle, and they prophesied in the camp." The conclusion, after analysis of the antechamber of the Tuat, is that the underworld, whose images are drawn on the walls of the tombs of the pharaohs of the kings at Thebes, are found acted out in the Bible. This suggests that the scriptures are based on the course of the sun god at night. By visualization of the 12 divisions of the Tuat, and an excellent example of this is found on the alabaster sarcophagus of Seti I, one can appreciate the structure upon which the Bible was constructed. As we shall discover, the scriptures are based on the ancient text known as the Egyptian Book of Gates.